He just went, that's the end of your test, and on this occasion you've passed it. Oh my God! He's like, no, calm down. I said, how can I be calm? It's my first time, my first attempt. You know, we know. How can I be calm? Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Winnie-Fred. If you're seeing my face for the first time, today I just received something and I thought that I needed to do a video. That's my full UK driver's license. Yep. All right, so I belong to so many more WhatsApp groups, and when I shared my testimony, because I was so excited, everyone went, oh, tell us, how did you do it? And so I thought to make this video because for one, I really sought information out before writing my driving test, both the theory and the practical, and I thought, why not just share? So I'll be taking you through the whole story of how I got my car, my provisional license, insurance, in fact every gist I can remember. I am making this video to help anyone who seeks information on how to go about getting their full UK driving license. So I got into the country December 2022 and I got my first car January 2023. So for you to get into the country as an international driver, of course you would have your full driver's license from whichever country you come from, and then you'd have an international passport. Guess what? For the number of years or months I've actually driven in UK, no one asked me for those licenses yet. So I think the police would pull you over if they have a reason to do that. So I didn't have a reason to pull over for any police or anything. However, before I got the insurance for my car, I needed to prove the kind of license I was using, and that was when it was requested. So when I did my research on insurance, I realized that you could pay monthly because I had an international driver's license. I was asked to pay in a year, so I paid about 1,250 for my full year insurance for the car. So insurance is based off on the car you're driving, the type of car, the manual, the mileage, and what more. So mine was calculated and that was what it summed up to, and I was asked to pay it fully because I couldn't pay monthly as I had no records in the UK. And that was how I got on the road and started driving. The training I was doing required that I get to work at 8 o'clock, and I had children I needed to drop off at school. So there was no way, there was no magic. There was no way I could go around, you know, the bus, train, whatsoever means of transportation to drop them and still meet up to start my work. So coming from a country where we had the left-hand driving to a place where they had the right-hand driving, it was a lot. It was like, get on the road, you have no other option. As a matter of fact, my car came in on Friday and on Monday I was on the road because I needed to go to work. It was challenging for a start, but we managed. So, I mean, if you know how to use your sat nav and just follow through the road signals, everything is just there for you. Makes life very easy, like they're considering the immigrants. So it was a lot easier, and then I started driving. So up until September, late September 2023, that was when I applied for my provisional driver's license. I should have done that earlier, but that was just when I had space or time to do that. So I applied. It was about, I'll confirm the price and I'll put it up there and the link for you to apply for your provisional license. So basically you don't really need a lot. You just need to attach a proof of ID. I used my BRP to apply for my provisional driver's license. So I sent it through the post office, and after some weeks it was sent back. So I was scared like handing over my BRP, but believe me, it was pretty much straightforward. I submitted it, and after 2 weeks, I'm not very certain the period of time it took, and it got back to me. I received it at my doorstep. I received the provisional license and I got back the proof of ID, which I submitted. That was a success for the first round, and so it was time for me to do. So the UK does 2 different lessons for the driving. They have the theory, which is the first one, which of course you should be able to pass before you can do the real practical driving. So I registered for my theory driving test for December 22nd, and I paid. I'll confirm the price and put it up there, the amount, the link for the registration, and then the material I used. So I was really prepared for that test, but for some reason I forgot my exact date. So I was just lying down and sleeping, and then I just decided to check. Oh, have you put your license in your bag? Are you ready? And then I just went to my email and I confirmed that same day was the day I was supposed to write my theory. You really don't want to know how I felt. I was upset with myself. I was angry, but there was nothing I could do about it. All I needed to do was to rebook the test. So I rebooked the test. I got another date for the theory test, and then I started preparing for my theory test. I didn't take lessons, remember. All I used was a material that was shared. Shout out to Bukola. She shared on her YouTube video of how she passed the test, and I asked for the material, so I'll still attach the material here. Very helpful. It's about 100 questions for the mock theory. That was the only thing I prepared with, and when I got in, about 50 of the questions were from there. So it's very important. I studied hard, I practiced, I did the test myself, and when I saw that my scores were improving, I was a lot more confident. And so for the first time, I went into the hall in my center. So if you're from Nigeria or any country and you're quite familiar with the CBT style of examination, you know, where it's just you, your laptop, you click it and your time starts reading and you keep answering until your time is up and your exam is up. That's how the driving test is. So it's just you. I got into the venue, we asked to sit down, I sat somewhere, and then when it was my time, they came, you know, searched me. It was a thorough search to be sure that I wasn't carrying any incriminating thing on me, and then I was handed over my laptop, so just me and my computer, and I sat down and they said, when you're ready, just click start. I took my time, and when I was ready, it was tap, and I started the test, and the test went on and on. I had time to go through what I had done, my questions, the answers and everything, and ta-da! It was over and I came out, and I don't, to be honest, you know, it's just a multi-choice question, so I didn't expect, or I didn't know what to expect. So it's like, oh, you just leave the hall and then you sit down somewhere, and when they finally print out your result, they wrap it up and they hand it back to you. And then I just started walking home, and on the way, and I'm like, oh, just check, if you're not there, you could always rewrite. Yes. And I opened it and it was 45 over 50. And that was a pass mark, and I was so happy. And that was me done with my theory. Now to the master of them all. So for this one, because of the things I had heard, I knew that I needed to really prepare. Although I was driving and I was quite familiar with the routes, one thing I did was I didn't go to another city where they said it was easier to pass the exams in. I decided to use the city where I've been driving and where I'm a lot familiar with the routes. So the struggle started with looking for a driving instructor. None was available. I reached over 20 and it's like, oh, you're on our waiting list, and I kept on waiting. And another factor that made it a little more challenging for me was I wanted an automatic. Yeah, so most of the trainers or most of the instructors had their manual cars, but I didn't want a manual car. Remember, I drive an automatic car and I just prefer to do on the automatic. So it was a hassle getting a driving instructor. Just one day I was just sitting outside and I saw this car that had the driving instructor's number, and I rang the number and I'm like, oh, I just saw you drop my neighbor off, I want to join you. And she's like, oh, that's beautiful, when is your availability? And then I mentioned the days. I'm like, I'm free anytime. And then she told me that it was a manual car, and that was a no, because I needed an automatic. But then she said, oh, I'll refer you to someone. So she referred me to an instructor. So this instructor said she doesn't have enough time, but she could take me for an hour in a week, and I was very okay with that. At least I knew that I was starting something and heading somewhere. So remember that you have just 1 year to use your international driver's license, and this 1 year is not from the time you get any international license, it's from the time you got into the country. So I had limited time to get my test over and done with, because I knew the risk of driving without a valid insurance. You don't want to be there. You're going to be losing points for a license you haven't got yet, and you're still going to pay a fine. So I was very careful. I was very eager to learn and start driving, and so the driving started. When I started, she confirmed I was a good driver. However, let me tell you the honest truth, I was scared of the roundabouts. I mean, have you seen the roundabouts here? If I was to go anywhere, even when I was going to work, I would put a route. I'll set my sat nav to be sure that it would take me off those roads, and I don't mind going through streets and roads and all of that to get to my destination, no matter how long it was going to take. But I was going to do anything to escape that big road. It was very scary, 7 lanes, 8 lanes. And so she grabbed that and she was like, oh no, you're not confident with the major roads, and that's where we need to work on. And so for every time we went driving, she was taking me round the roundabouts. I don't take that for granted because she kind of built my confidence. And this ran through the whole of February, March, April. Remember, it was just once a week and I was paying £35 per hour, and I booked a block. I did 10 hours and then I started paying hourly. So in my mind I was like, remember, I practice everything she taught me or everything we go through when I'm driving on my own. So I was very okay. I was like, why don't I book this test? If I fail, it's no problem. I'm not scared of failing. I will definitely go back and rewrite and know what my errors are. I told her that I was going to book my test. And that was when she told me, these glasses should come off. And that was when she told me there was no way I was going for that test. 1, because she doesn't feel I'm ready. 2, because she can't give me her car because she was certain I was going to fail and she needed to raise a confident driver. And for some reason, I didn't quite agree with her. Remember, I'm not scared of losing. I'm not scared of failing. I tried to make her understand that and she went, no. So I would attach our last conversation. So she became really cold. She wasn't giving me that push anymore. When we go for our driving, it's the same thing we were doing. And I needed help, so I couldn't even complain. I was willing to work with her rules, you know, until I chatted her one morning and then I told her that I had booked my test. So this was like a month before my test. It's just somewhere there on the screen. And that was when she told me outrightly that, no, this is not working. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's just there in the text message. I'm like, fine, just teach me what you can, as if you're preparing a student you trusted, you know. And that was when she ghosted me. So I'll send her a message, she will not respond. On our training days, she will not show up because she would usually show up at my doorstep, pick me for trainings, you know, and bring me back. So she stopped taking my calls, she stopped responding to my message. I felt really bad, but she wasn't holding my money. So it was 2 things. Remember, I had booked for this test, so it's either I let that day pass or just book ahead, but I wasn't ready to risk that. So I decided to take the bull by the horn. That was when I started asking, how else can I drive without an instructor? How else can I do this test without using an instructor's car? Can I write this test even if I don't? Remember, I didn't care about passing. I just wanted to do the test to know what I needed to work more on. And someone said, find another instructor. And I'm like, I'm on a queue for many instructors. It's going to be difficult to get another instructor. And I had done 12 hours of paid lessons, and these things do not come cheap. And so I got on the internet and I started searching how to do the test. I went to the gov.uk website to check how to do the test on their own car. So Bukola again shared how she used her personal car for her tests. And that was when I told myself, baby, you're not missing this opportunity. You're going to fix your car. So I had to go on the website to confirm what I needed to do to get my car ready for the test. So I realized that your car has to be in a good condition, have an MOT. The MOT is like a check on your car to make sure it's roadworthy for every year. So my car had the MOT. I had a bad tire, or it was a tear. You remember your tire shouldn't have any tear or a bulge. It had a little tear because I've been hitting all their curbs. So I had to change that tire. And then I walked into Halford. It's a car shop, and I bought the L thing to paste on my car for that morning. And then there is a side mirror. I think I have it here somewhere. Yes, an interior. Is here an extra mirror? I don't know what it's called. So I actually bought this was like £12, and the L stuff was like £2, so just about £15. I was able to get the both of them, and I cleaned and washed my car thoroughly. So I had to start going on YouTube. You see, YouTube did wonders for me. The YouTube videos I watched was all that gave me the confidence and the courage I needed to go for this test. Driving TV was the major one I relied on. I slept on it and I woke up on it and I practiced everything. Remember, I had just done roundabouts with my instructor. So with that, just that, watching that YouTube channel, I was able to learn my reverse and all of that. And then my husband started taking me on trainings in the evenings. Remember, I had just 1 week to get ready for this test. So in the evenings, once I get back from work, we go drive around the test route. Then I also put a link to, you know, the test app, the test route app that we downloaded. We paid about £12 for a month and we get deactivated after the test. And so we'd go to the test center. From there, we'll start driving, follow the sat nav, do the corrections. And that was just all I did in a week. They'll keep sending you emails to confirm your test day, and when they tell you things you need to check, like show me, tell me things, already I knew those ones, so I just had to get familiar with them. And so gang that morning on a Thursday, I just got ready. I checked the weather report. It was going to rain and I was scared, but I'm like, it could work in my favor. And so I got to my test center. It was for 11. I got to my test center for 10:50. I saw other candidates. So we're all seated. You just put your key down, put your provisional license down, and you wait for them to call you. And so the first name they called was my name. And I stood up and they said, oh, follow me. They didn't even ask me if I wanted my husband to go with me, because he drove me to the house. So it was just I and the instructor. And then he said, where's your car? I showed him. And then he put me somewhere like, look down, can you read that? And I read, to see how far I'm able to read plate number. So I read it out clearly. And he's like, all right. He went round the car. I think he checked some things. He put my plate number on his phone, I'm sure, to check if my car was okay to go on that test. So when he did everything, he got in the car and told me, when you're ready, let's start. So he introduced himself, asked me one show me question. I think what he asked me was, how do I know my brake is free? And I answered that, and he said, when you're ready, drive, follow my instructions. And then we drove off. Now, I forgot to put off my phone. No, my phone was on mute, but it was connected to my car radio. I hadn't even done a 10-minute drive and someone was calling me. It was my colleague. She was calling me constantly. And then I went, Jesus. I'm like, oh, is this where I'm feeling? But I just told him sorry about that. And with my left hand, I was just able to, turn down the volume to the minimum on my dashboard on the car. I just turned off the volume and the phone just kept on ringing. And I felt that was a big fail, because why should your phone be ringing? But I think I did well with managing that, because I wasn't distracted. I didn't try to touch my phone, and I still had my car in good control. So everything went smoothly, everything he asked me to do. However, we didn't go on those major roads, those roundabouts. He didn't take me there. So I heard that when you use your personal car for this test, there are some roads they can't take you to, because they don't have their own control, like to control the car when you're trying to crash them. So they will not go and die on top of your matter. There were roundabouts quite alright, but not those ones that I've been preparing and I've been scared for. I wasn't taking there. So at some point, he started giving me a direction, like take left, take right. And he said, take left, take the next left. And I got there, but I was on the wrong lane. And then he went, I just told you to take the next left. And I knew that there was no way I could, swerve around. Probably because I was tense, I would have just, tried to join the next line. But no, I just told him, oh, that's all right, I'll handle that. Woo, gig. And I drove ahead. I went ahead and I found the roundabout, and I turned and I came back. And I'm like, we're back on spot. I read that it was the YouTube channel that taught me that one, that when you make a mistake, don't try to fix it, just do the right thing and then come back. You will not be failed for that. So I was so happy that happened, and he didn't say anything. He just continued with the lesson. The real shocker came when he now said, follow the road map to city center. Hey, how will I be reading road map? I'm driving, I'm tense, because I just changing speed limits, and ahead I was just going, follow the arrow, turn left, do this, nowhere to turn. Ooh, I was like, can this just end? But I just did that, and finally he told me, all right, that's it, I'll take over from here. And he kept on giving me directions, and we returned to the test center. And then he told me to park. Oh no, I forgot to mention, I did 2 maneuvers on the road. Was it two car size reverse, and then pull over at the left, pull over at the right. Yeah, that was basically that. There was no emergency stop. And then we came back to the test center, and then he told me to, you know, to park my car using that white line stuff. It was like make it straight, and I just did that. So I was happy that it had ended. You know what to expect, but I'm like, I'm happy I'm back. Yes or no, I would fix my errors, you know, and just come back. And then he just went, so that's the end of your test. He wasn't looking at me. He was gonna, that's the end of your test, and on this occasion you've passed your drive. Oh my God! He's like, no, calm down. I have paperwork to do. You don't need to shout. You don't need to. I'm like, hey God. I tried to open the door and escape, and he's like, can you just be calm? Oh, I said, how can I be calm? How can I be calm? It's my first time, my first attempt. You know, we know. Oh, how can I be calm? But I just remained calm, and he signed my certificate, and then he gave me, and he took away the provisional license. And here I am. After 3 days, I received the bata of them all. And I am super happy. So I would say, if you're preparing for your driving tests and you have a car that is in a great condition, I mean, there is no guarantee that you're going to pass whether you go with your instructor or not. You could fix that car right, but make sure you don't drive it to the test center yourself. You need someone who has a license to go with you, except of course your international license is still very valid. And remember, you can't do this driving test if you have not lived in the UK for over, I think, 130 days or more. So you just need to confirm these things, and I would say start on time. This thing really flies quickly. You say 1 year, and then it takes a lot of process, and here we are, and I did it, and I'm just so happy. I heard a lot how many times he needed to do this and all of that, and I am just super grateful to God that I was able to do it once. I mean the money, I mean the stress, I mean the driving worried. And then when I see a police, I'm like, oh, see, at that point, if you hit my car, I'm not sure I'll calm down. I'm sure I'll just go where I'm going to, because I don't have strength. But now I am a driver. If you push, I push. If you overtake, I overtake. So I'm just so happy, and I thought to share. So I'll put the link for everything I've mentioned, and I'm sure it's coming very handy to guide you. And then I wish you success in your own exam, and I hope it goes really smoothly. And I can't take away the place of grace, because I mean, there were other things that probably would have made me fail or so, but it was all right. It was just okay. And that's my test results. I had just 1 fault, which is, I know my speed. Sometimes when I go on a road that has 70, I can't pick up, I just go 50, you know, all of that. That was just my fault, and I had no other fault. Thank you so much for watching, and please just give a thumbs up if you actually got value from the video, and do ask any question which I failed to include. I'm making this video solely for the purpose of those in my WhatsApp community, just so I can share it there and anyone else that wants to watch it. Thank you so much for watching. Please do well to subscribe, because I share other things and not just the driving. It's just one off. Thank you so much. See you later.